Hello, this is the Nine Gang YouTube channel.
This is my fine friend over here, Davis.
I hate you. Okay. Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to the Nine Motor Gang YouTube channel. I'm a special guest star, Davis, from Minnesota.
We're actually in Minnesota right now, right? Like 17 minutes from the Mall of America.
That is true, yeah.
Yeah. Also, I forgot my mic back in Kansas, so the mic quality might be bad. We're gonna talk about strategy today, and all of the tips and tricks you should know for
Yeah.
Mall of America. We were at a scrimmage and we
Yeah,
learned stuff.
Yeah, we hosted a scrimmage here at this house. We had some of the best teams over. Can't name drop because he said I can't, but um,
Yeah.
yeah, we got some strats and we're gonna share them here.
Okay, are we ready to get started, Davis? Okay, so this is some very high-tech video editing software right here. Very, very advanced motion graphics. All right, so first we're going to start off with double positive is OP. So,
Okay.
Davis, you want to start us off with that?
So basically, well, the first thing we noticed in the scrimmage is that the teams that were succeeding the most are the ones that were getting to the positive corners. They're just the main focus of the match the entire time. Like both positive corners are just constantly being focused on you. And it was just that if you control the positive corners, you're basically like guaranteed. You're basically guaranteed to win the game. If you win autonomous and you have a full stack in both of the positive corners, your opponent like has to basically max out all the rest of the score, and they can just barely win. But if they can't do that, and no one's really maxing out the score this early in the season, if they can't do that, then like the game's just basically over if you can take control of both positive corners.
We did have a match, I think it was semifinals 2, where red got both positive corners like this, and red won auto, and they needed the auto bonus to win. Blue almost managed to win. I think they lost by what, 5 points, 4 points, somewhere like that.
It was 35 to 30, or was it like 37 to 32 or something?
Something like that. That sounds about right. They had filled up both of the wall stakes. They also filled up both of their goals with rings. And then they also filled up a negative goal for the other alliance. And they missed a couple of their own rings, but like they still lost by like 4 points. So essentially, they would have had to score every single blue ring on the field because I think they were missing a couple red ones or something on their negative goal.
Well, red also hit 2 hangs, so they like it wasn't impossible for them to win because one of them didn't have a hang.
Yeah, I mean, if you lose the double positive corner, it really sucks.
And that was the only time we even saw the negative corners even being used. Like most of the time, if you want to fill up a negative corner, you have to fill with your opponent's color first, and that can be really dangerous because if you don't get it off, then you just wasted your time scoring for the opponent. So that was a strategy that really nobody was going for. They were mostly focusing on scoring their own rings. The only time we saw it being used was in semis 1 semis 2 when both of the red robots were just camping the positive corner, and there was no risk doing the negative corner because there was no one to stop you. So that was the only time like anyone was even using it.
Yeah, we definitely had a couple matches in which teams would fill up a negative goal, and then the other two, because it's a 16-point swing getting in the negative corner. It's the biggest swing in the entire game. So it becomes the other alliance's #1 priority to stop you from getting to the negative corner if you fill up a negative goal. So like it happened a couple times, and then you just play super heavy defense on them, make sure they can't get to the corner. And most of the time they didn't do it, and you've practically just thrown the match. You can't really recover from that.
Yeah. I mean, if you waste your time filling up a goal, you're already going to be super behind. You just gave them an even bigger lead. Another thing that we noticed is that in basically every match, because the focus was so heavy on the corners, teams were committing the double goal possession plowing violation. Like there is a violation in like every match, and we weren't calling it at the scrim because you don't call that kind of thing in a scrimmage. But we wanted to make them be aware of it because the rule book states you can plow multiple goals at a time, but if you are in possession of a goal, you cannot plow another one. So a team that is like holding on to a goal cannot go and contest a corner basically at all because the second they're touching and pushing another goal, they're breaking the possession rules.
Yeah.
So if you want to go contest a corner from someone else, you have to not be holding a mobile goal.
Yeah, if you're driving around this with mobile goal, this is your robot. You essentially can't touch any other mobile goals on the field. That's really the only way you can play things safe. So it's really you essentially have to treat them like landmines. Just drive around them because then you risk getting a violation. And we definitely had some that would have been match affecting. We just like if somebody committed a violation, we just like move the goal back. We weren't actually gonna like DQ and stuff. So
yeah, I mean
there probably would have been some though if we hadn't just been moving goals.
I mean the point of our scrimmage was like more for fun or like educational. But yeah, during those contests in the corner, there would be teams holding on to a goal while contesting their opponents holding one in a corner. And like you can contest the opponent, you just can't contest the goal. So when you're carrying a goal and filling it up, you have to make sure not to touch. Like you can bump into it. Like if you bump into it and you don't score in it, you don't push it anywhere, no one cares, because that's just an incidental violation. But if you're going in and you're contesting a corner, then and you're carrying a goal, then a ref that knows the rules is almost always going to say that your defense is illegal, and then even if you do manage to get the corner out, they're going to call it match affecting. You could get a disqualification for that.
Yeah, which kind of leads corner camping. I mean, you want to get the corners first because then essentially it's. I don't think we had a single match where a team would get in the corner and another team managed to force them out. I don't think we saw that at all.
We saw it a few times. Well, the only time we saw it happen was with the tipping the goal over, which
yes.
is a big thing.
Yes, if you don't have a good goal clamp, it can get tipped over, and then things get really messy, which we'll kind of get to more tipping later. But you want to get to the positive corner as fast as possible. Essentially, just first part of the match is just race to fill up your mobile goal and get to the positive corners, and then you just camp there. Like it is completely viable. And this won most of the matches to just get your goal and just sit there for like a minute straight and don't leave until like 11 seconds left, which is another thing we kind of saw happening is make sure you are not touching the goal at 10 seconds left because that is a violation. So like you want to drop it, make sure that it's on the ground, which we'll kind of get to when we talk about like clearing the rings of corners and stuff, or clearing the corners of rings, because just getting the goals in the corner first essentially guarantees that you get to keep them. So just by sitting there, you're doing the most point efficient thing, because just driving around, we're not at the point in the season yet where like wall stakes are super, super fast. So it's not like you can just gap somebody on wall stakes real quick. It's a process to score the wall stakes, and sitting in the corner is a lot safer, and it means your opponent can't get double corner.
Yeah, and I mean that kind of goes into our next point, which is like about like wall stake viability. Like I don't know, I honestly don't know how this is going to translate to the rest of Mall of America, because we were pretty much inviting like some of the best teams that are going to be at Mall of America. Our scrimmage was mostly really high level teams, but a lot of them were very fast on the wall stakes, and the wall stakes did end up playing a big part in the match. Like I know they're a lot harder to fill up than a goal, especially because you can only fill them up two at a time with some kind, you're with your hopper mech or something. But the wall stakes, a lot of people were saying, I saw a lot of discussion about, okay, like the wall stakes, they're not going to be that viable early season. Like you can just ignore them. And I mean that kind of is true. If you camp in the corner and you can if you can lock down your corner and get a full stack of your color in the corner every time, like there's not a match where that's not going to be appreciated. There's like, no one's going to complain about you doing that. But for someone that can do the wall stakes, that is actually a big deal.
If you only get one positive corner, then it is advantageous for your robot that's not camping in the positive corner to do the wall sticks once they fill up their goal. That's kind of what we saw was the best strat for teams to do.
Yeah, and another thing is that if you take an empty mobile goal and fill it completely up with your color, that's 8 points, right? So you've just scored 8. If the opponent has top ring on a wall stake and you go and put 2 more on with your hopper, then you've just taken away top ring, so that's -2, and given yourself top ring, so that's +4, so that's a 6-point swing. So that's worth 75% as much as filling an entire goal up for like not even 25% of the time, assuming you can drive up and line it up yourself, like you have a good driver.
Also, a lot of the discussion was like D-scoring on the wall stakes. I think we maybe had like one match where a wall stake actually got full during the entire match. Like it's a slow process, at least at this point in the season. Maybe later people have faster wall stakes, but these are some of the best teams there, and wall stakes weren't really filling up. I don't think you need a D-score mech at all at this point in the season, and D-scoring is just slow.
Yeah, well, and the only time the wall stake was full was in that semis 2 match where the Blue Alliance was just completely, no one was even defending them.
Yeah, defense on wall stakes is pretty easy if you're there. It's definitely easier than actually scoring them.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't see there was 0 wall stake D scores. I didn't see a single one.
I think there was a couple.
Well, I didn't see it. I didn't see any. If there were any, they've had rings fall out of the field.
They did, yes.
Yeah, so it wouldn't account. But you don't want to do that anyway.
Yeah, rings out of the field. D-scoring is pretty risky because the times that it did happen, like you're knocking like 2 rings out of the field, and that's like halfway to a DQ for the entire rest of the tournament every time you knock a ring out.
Oh, it's midnight. Happy midnight, Evan.
Happy midnight, Davis.
All right, so then the next thing we want to talk about is that autonomous is worth 6 points in this game. that is a big deal. For over under, autonomous was worth 6 points, but like a high scoring match is like 100. Like both sides can score 100. This game, autonomous is worth 6 points, and there aren't very many scores over
Yeah.
over
I mean,
35.
Let me point out some more scores. You have 27, 36, 0, 6.
Okay, that one was for I didn't.
Oh, right, that one we had like we didn't score that one. We forgot.
Yeah.
Oops. 41 to 9, 31 to 35, 30 to 12.
Yeah, so and that's different because in over under you would see scores over 100 all the time, but a score over 100 isn't even possible in this game if you max it out. So a 6 point autonomous bonus that's crazy. That's worth 4 rings. If you have the top ring.
Yeah, we saw plenty of matches that just came down to auto. Like I feel like maybe
Yeah.
33% of the matches, maybe a third of them, just were auto wins.
Yeah, and it's kind of like going back to that double positive strategy. You can't do that if you lose auto. Like even if you can control both corners, like obviously you probably should still try to do it, but it's not an instant win if you lose auto because the opponent is it's just so much easier to come back.
As long as they can do wall sticks.
Well, they don't even have to put you in the negative if you lost auto. Yeah, but yeah, auto is super important. I think that we played like 25 matches, and I think 5 or less had the winner of autonomous go on to lose the match.
Yeah. Kind of cycling back to the corners. There's rings that start in the corners, 4 stack, and it's pretty common. I can't really show it here, but like the goals, they tilt. It has to be physically touching those tape lines with the bottom of the goal, and the goal is like it's curved on the bottom. It's not like a flat surface. So like a goal like that isn't going to probably count as scored in the corner. And like it's pretty easy to like tilt them so that like they're touching outside of the corner, but then they're wedged up on the rings. So you really want to get those rings out of the corner in order to put the goal in there. Because I think we had, I don't know, maybe like 25% of the goals that looked like they were in the corner weren't actually when you go over and look at them.
Yeah, we had a lot of flashlight tests going on, but it was it's and I mean it's really tough to do that because they're gonna get wedged in the corner if anyone's gonna be contesting them, and it can be hard to get those out, especially if you like have a straight drive train. I mean, there was one robot who I won't say their team number right now, but you guys watching this after Mo is over, you're probably gonna know who I'm talking about. They had this extended arm that they would that
With
they
the
would
Delrin.
yeah, that they would stick out and just sweep rings out of the corner, and that was very helpful for them. They were like able to clear out the corner. They were basically uncontestable on corners, and it worked on goals too if they left it open.
It was also used for I guess next point we can move on to tipping goals. Tipping goals is like it's a goated strat.
Yeah, if you can get at your opponent's goal at all while they're not clamped onto it and tip it over, like that's huge. That's almost as bad. That's almost as good as like stopping their negative score because now the goal's tipped over like that.
Usually one ring stays scored, but like the other 5 get descored. So I mean,
Yeah,
you cost
that's
them
it.
5 points.
You
You
cut-
now can't move it to the positive corner very easily. Tipped over goals don't count for being in the corner, so you can potentially remove that. And like,
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, it's important because most robots only carry around one goal the entire time, and if you tip that over, you're basically removed like what that robot might have spent 20, 30 seconds working on. With one quick movement. And that for the defensive side, don't let go of your goal unless you have to. Like if you don't have to let go of your goal to contest something, like obviously let go if you're going to contest something because you don't want to violate the plowing rule. But if you don't have to let go of your goal, just
Yeah.
don't hang on to it until it's time to put it in the corner. 'Cause
I know.
there are so many teams that would just drop it and then go pick up another goal and they greed for more points. And like don't do that because then you're just gonna get tipped over and it's less points.
yeah, I know there were definitely some matches that were decided by like last seconds tip. I think that's a great thing to do in those last 10 seconds of the match. Is if there's a goal that has rings on it that's just sitting out in the open, you can go and tip it over. I know I won one of my matches that way. Like it's so easy and it's fast and it's really hard to reverse. Do we see any teams that could reliably unflip goals without like ramming them into rings and flipping them that way?
There were a couple teams with enough space between their hopper that were able to tilt it back up. That one team with the Delrin arm that I still can't mention yet. I saw them tip one back up pretty quickly, but they would hook back and drive back. But yeah, untipping it's not easy for any team, I would say.
Yeah, way easier to tip than untip.
Yeah, I guess.
Hang?
Yeah, the only thing we haven't talked about is hang.
Oh, oops.
Yeah, sorry, we did not.
Okay.
Our stream went to street. That's Evan's
I
VPN.
think we're good. Still recording.
He's choking, guys. He's throwing. Yeah, so we did not see any hangs that went above tier 1 at our scrim. And I walking around MOA today on day one. I did not see any other robots that weren't at the scrim that could hang above tier one. I don't expect it from any robots early season. Um, the tier one hang it's 3 points. It's the same as a top ring. I mean, if you have it, it's good for you. I mean, if both your robots hang, that is 6 points that can cancel out Auton. And I just said Auton was overpowered. If you don't have a hang, it really doesn't matter. If you're seeing a robot that doesn't have a hang but they're really good at rings, I would not let that. That would not bring them down very far on my pick list for me.
Yeah, because if you're not hanging, a lot of the matches ended with like trying to push another team's goal into the neutral corner or going and tipping a goal. So like it's not like you're just going to be sitting around there in those last 10 seconds with nothing to do. Like there are still things that you can be doing to score points. Some of those are going to be more efficient than hanging.
Yeah, one and all the teams that were gonna hang anyway, like the teams that had hangs would go for them like last 3 seconds at the earliest, with 3 seconds left.
Yeah, if your hang takes a long time, it's not going to be good. And then I think that covers all of our main points, other than just strategy is super important in this game. Like
Yeah.
you can't just like over under, you could just mindlessly shuttle try balls, and as long as you didn't like get yourself descored, you're gonna do fine.
Yeah. I mean, if a lot of like people are, if you guys are used to like spin up and over under where like if your driver doesn't grind 500 hours of practice before Worlds, they're gonna be terrible. But in this game, you don't need a super good driver. You need to be able to reliably line up wall stakes, but you don't need to be like ridiculous. But what you really need is a good drive team. You need good communication. Someone on your team has to know what's going on with every stake at every time, because you have to know where to be, right? You have to know like who has got top ring on the wall stakes. Like is the goal open? Is there something is there a corner you can contest or something?
Is there a goal you can tip?
Yeah, is there a goal you can tip? Everyone really is a big fan of tipping.
That's how I won my first match. We tipped a goal at the last second.
That was
fun.
That was Drew, wasn't you? But
no, that was not Drew.
we won't be arguing this right now.
I won my first match without Drew.
I won't be
Drew
arguing
was the
this.
second win.
We won't be arguing this right now. Anyway, you're like honestly, if you have a really good drive team who's able to see the field, that can arguably be more important than having like a good driver, because you need to be focused on what to do. This game has a lot going on, like with what you can control,
and you don't need a great robot either. Like
you do need. You need a pretty.
You don't need a great robot to do at least well in quals. Like one of the matches I was in, their ring mech wasn't working. So you fill up the goal, you put it in the positive corner. They just go and they sit it there. They protect slower than if you just like had your partner fill up the goal, but it's not going to be like devastatingly slow. Or as long as you can fill up a goal fast, if you can't do wall stakes, like just go sit in the corner, protect your corner, and you're going to do fine. For the most part. I mean, like, yeah, when you get to higher levels of elims, it's not going to carry, but just for your general qual match, I mean, you don't need a crazy robot as long as you can reliably and relatively quickly fill up a mobile goal.
All right. You got anything else you want to talk
about? Have fun, because, yeah, that's fun. All right, Davis, what are you doing? I'm probably going to end up cutting this out, Davis. You know that.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing.
All right, yeah, have fun in high stakes.